before that, we need to do a little business. Welcome to our board meeting for tonight. We need to excuse board member Janice Christensen, who's not with us. She may be online, I'm not quite sure. Okay, thank you. We do excuse her. However, those of you who don't know, we have our musical number by Far West Elementary. Huh? We're going to have them start that whole program right over, Mrs. Starks. Would you do that from the beginning? We'd love to hear that song again. It is the maiden voyage. After you are done, if you will just kindly have Kayla Garner step over to the mic, and she will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. So let's go to there, please.
I Please stand. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's give them another round of applause. Every week, every month? Oh, that was. Vice President Oborn said we should have you come every month and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. That was very hearty. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Good job.
Mr. Schwalberg,
Keep smiling.
their principal, Mr. Schwalberg's in the back. We recognize him and his efforts and thank him and his staff and Mrs. Stark and the kids and their
Thank you
parents.
so
Thank
much.
you, parents, for bringing them up and supporting them. Thank you.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
What a way to break in the new boardroom, huh? Well, the old boardroom, new makeover. We'll give them just a minute as they step out before we move on. Board and those that are still in the boardroom, if I could, I'm just going to deviate just for a moment if I could. You'll notice, those who've been here before and those who haven't, that our boardroom had a makeover. And if I could, I'd just like to highlight a couple of things as we go through this, and then I'd ask Superintendent Butters to also chime in. So, during my 20 years of serving on the board, I don't believe this boardroom has ever been remodeled, except for maybe once. So those of you who have been here before, remember there were boxes around the outside. They had painted them every other color, so there's one. In your time in owning your home and where you live and rent, I'm sure you've remodeled once in 20 years. This room is the biggest face of our school, the biggest space in this room as well. We have great need to enhance this room for many years, including technology aspects. You've noticed the technology in here. Now, if you go to our schools, they are a little more on top of that. They're everywhere there's technology, and that's great for kids. We were lagging a little behind here, so I'm really excited to see this the way it is. That's an interesting way. The public meetings, the open act, the technology, the high quality of video streaming, the boards, all that tuning in. When we had people virtually tune in every month, the biggest complaint I was getting is all they could see is the back of our heads, because we were always turned, if you remember, looking at the board behind us because it was clear. And people were saying, we can't see you, we don't know what you're doing. I believe we've got that remedied with them two fine gentlemen in the back in their department. We will recognize them in a minute. The control booth in the back is equipped with the audio with a camera, recording and streaming equipment. And again, we've filled complaints on that. And I believe everything is still been used, just relocated and hooked to a new head. So they've managed to use as much as they can of the old space. As I've visited, and we as a board have visited other districts in boardrooms, it's a lot more elaborate than ours. And if you'll notice, even though it's a little uncomfortable for all of us, ours is up a little bit, not by our choice. They had to have that up a little bit to get technology and infrastructure in place to support us. Others, you'll notice, are way up above on the rostrums. We would prefer to be down with you folks. So we hope that, the 6-inch riser is not a real big problem. And it is ADA accessible. It's ramp accessible, so I can get this chair down.
All right, President Ritchie, a great board. I'd just like to emphasize just a couple of other pieces too. This space has been reconfigured, and it's hard to tell. We used to have these partitions that you could pull shut. They took up so much room. we actually have created far more seating in this room. It's opened it up. It's made it feel more welcoming. Like President Ritchie indicated, we have new ADA compliant locks and entrances on our doors and spacing, and so that's wonderful. This boardroom doubles as a meeting space and a PD training space for our administrators and many of our teachers in our district. Many of our employee groups use this. So this will not be a standalone room. This is our largest meeting space in the district office, and this room is used on the daily. And so I want the public especially to understand and know that this room is not just a boardroom space, meeting space, but it's also to support our public and to support our great employees as they work to support children. And then also, like President Ritchie indicated, we have some video upgrades that have been done, some AV upgrades that have been done. And one of the things we're going to do in this room that has not been done before, we're going to utilize it as a multi media space, meaning we're going to be able to do some video production work in here where we can feature and recognize employees, we can feature different student groups, we can put together podcasts, we can do some different things and broadcast and promote the great things that are happening in our district by utilizing this space and also the technology that we brought into the space. So this room is going to have many, many different functions besides just board meeting functions, and I wanted the board to understand that and the public. I'll let President Ritchie, if he would, just recognize all the wonderful people that were involved in this overview. Would you want me to hit that last piece?
Would you hit the budget for me?
So
I think that's important.
I think it is too. Thank you. We talked about, we had a truth in taxation in August, and part of the revenue that we've captured from that tax increase, we have dog-eared to go towards capital improvement, towards our maintenance budgets, and also to our safety upgrades that we need in our schools. And we want to, board, I want to make sure you know that this particular upgrade to this room was planned, and a planned expenditure into the budget, maintenance budget that we had. That revenue has not been used and will not be used to upgrade this room. It was already a budgeted item, so I wanted to make sure you knew that.
So thank you. That was budgeted and has been for a while on trying to get this done. I'd like to, and I'm sure we all would like to, applaud the hard work and hustle demonstrated by many individuals to upgrade this highly utilized space. In short order, this was done in less than 40 days. We are so fortunate to have folks in our house, with the expertise to get these types of projects done at such a high quality and low cost when it compared with others of this type of work would have been done outside of our district. So all the way from the carpet, the paint, the removing of the walls, the doors, the tops have been cast. They didn't buy these tops. And all the woodwork was done by our in-house carpenters. Understanding, and I'm going to apologize right off the reel, somebody had to have taken a back seat for about 37 days. We're sorry, but we thank you for allowing that to happen, because look at what has happened. And with that, I'd like to recognize some people. Facilities and operations, our electricians, Ryan Sprinkle, Jeff Newey, Tim Sargent, Darren Loosberg, and Tyler Lindsley. Carpentry, Justin Higley, Tom Spence, Todd Anderson, James Robinson, Dave Pope, Dan Spence, Cody Anderson, Blake Widdison, Brandon Steed, and Colton Hess. Paint and carpet, Jeff Sandberg, Cody Hansen, Jeff Pettigrew, Frank Wallace, Jason Goodsell, Chase Priestone, Michael Colson, and Caleb Tesh. And our executive director, please, Larry, stand, please. Our executive director, Larry Hadley, who oversaw this from the crews and troops that have done this. Tech and services, screens and AV, Dave Hernandez, Sean Smith, Vince Coates. Data and low voltage, Boston Bailiff and Mark Malin. And our amazing audio, Ryan James. And again, Nick Harris, please stand. Everybody involved in this, please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. This is awesome. I will say the lights are low LED, and I'm sure they came through on the grant. It's so warm and subtle. No, it's actually hot up here. We got to work on that. However, board, it's amazing. It's beautiful. That would give us all kinds of room. We've always been squoze for room. You notice the kids came in, they had plenty of room to stand and do their, we were here for what? Kids. And it was amazing to see those kiddos come in here and do that, and we thank them. So there's a little bit here and there, but we thank that group of people who did that for us, and hope that that trickles down. So thank you very, very much. Board, our first item on the agenda would be the consent calendar, and I would entertain a motion to accept. So moved by Doug, second by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries, thank you. Next item on the agenda would be the recognition. The I Love Teaching Award. Mary Jo Williams, please.
Superintendent.
It's smart.
There we go.
Turn it on.
Thank you. Superintendent Butters, President Ritchie, and Board, I am so excited tonight to present to you Jenny Jo Allen from Lakeview Elementary for our I Love Teaching Award. Jenny, if you could come up. You just stand right here. All right. So we were lucky enough to be able to spend some time at Lakeview Elementary, where Jenny teaches, I think, for the last 7 years here in Weber School District, although she's been teaching for 13 years. And we spoke with some of the people she works with and some of the students that she teaches. So we want to share a little bit of what we found when we went to visit.
There it is.
Thank you. Whew. I was a little worried. I told Matt that I hope that the clicker worked this time, because I know last time he was here he had some issues with it. So, all right, so we asked her students, what are some of the best things about my teacher? So I'm going to let you just take a moment, look through some of the things that they told us were the best things about Mrs. Allen. If you notice the one on the bottom, her personality and hair. One of her teammates said, Jenny Jo makes students and building relationships a priority. Her students love being in her class and having her as their teacher. Jenny Jo is an extraordinary teacher, and I am so lucky to get the chance to work with her every day. And if you have a chance to ever be in Jenny Jo's classroom, things like this, the picture you see, are commonplace. So it's no wonder that students feel so welcome and want to be in her classroom. One thing that is important to my teacher, now she teaches 5th graders, so this comes from them. Make sure that we get all the knowledge we need, us being on our best behavior, use listening and being quiet when she asks. She's the best teacher ever. What's important to my teacher? All of us. This is her principal, Mr. Oki. Mrs. Allen collects and analyzes data frequently to help inform her decisions regarding her lessons and interventions. She coordinates with her team and colleagues in the school. Her students are excited to be part of her classroom family and learn from her. These are some things that the students remember that you always say. Go to the bathroom before recess. Don't give up on yourself. Make sure you follow along so you understand. Be kind. Do your best, follow school rules. We might have to go over the procedures again, and don't forget to put your name on your paper. Oh, sorry, I've got lots of. Mrs. Allen does everything with a smile. I see her greeting her students every morning with a heartfelt smile and a kind word. Mrs. Allen has a great relationship with her students. She allows them to be their genuine selves while still holding them accountable to the standard that she has set for her classroom. Mrs. Allen embodies the spirit of the I Love Teaching Award. And just we have a quote here to end. Teachers who put relationships first don't just have students for 1 year. They have students who view them as their teacher for life. So we are so happy to have you be part of our family here at Weber School District and for all the work that you do each and every day with our students. Do you want to take a moment and introduce what family you have here?
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to receive the award. It means a lot to me. I have my mom and dad, Roger and Mary Jo Simmons, my husband, Chad, our boys, Jackson and Riker, and my mother-in-law, Natalie Allen.
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry. Yes. We got to get a picture. Kodak moment. We'll do right here, and then you're right close to the border. All right.
You can go up.
Oh,
One more picture.
oh, are you in it or with us?
He's gonna take it.
Okay, take it.
Here, how about you just walk with me? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
While she's walking through, we'd like to recognize Mr. Oakey, the principal of Lakeview. There you go. And the families for supporting her. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that's what we wanted. Wanted them kids from Far West to go back in. We'll get this. Thank you, Mary Jo. Job well done. And congratulations, Jeannie. The Extra Mile Award will be our next recognition. Dr. Rod Belknap, please.
Superintendent Butters and board, thankful for the opportunity to be here tonight to recognize one of our great employees, Lisa Burton. So if I could have Lisa Burton from Fremont High School come on up, that'd be great. Give her a round of applause.
She's on your right.
Good to have you, Lisa.
There we go.
All right, there we go. It's great to have Lisa here with us tonight and an opportunity to be able to talk a little bit about the amazing work that she does. And Lisa Burton is a CTE secretary at Fremont High School, but she's much more than that. I love the quote there, do more than is required. What is the distance between someone who achieves their goals consistently and those who spend their lives and careers merely following? It's the extra mile. And she always goes the extra mile. So next slide, please. So I was talking with Brock Mitchell last night. We're kind of talking about some great sports figures. And one of the people that he actually knew, that Brock knew in college, is Misty May. And those of you that know Misty May Trainer, she's a three-time Olympian. She's won more gold medals than anyone in the Olympics. And she and Kerry Walsh are legendary beach volleyball players. The thing that struck me about Kerry Walsh's quote reminded me a lot of Lisa, and that is she said, "I wouldn't be the player I am if I didn't have a great setter." And those of you that follow volleyball know that you need a great setter to be able to make kills out there. And so when you look at some of the great setters of all time, Sue Bird, who is the WNBA's all-time leader in assists, Lionel Messi, who's also leads the world in the number of assists in soccer, and also, of course, Misty May. I included Rollie Fingers there simply for the mustache. And it was also a generational thing. So I figured there were a few people here that would know who Rollie Fingers is, and I'll talk more about that. That's for you, Dean. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Lisa, what makes her great. If you look at some of these setters, they really are able to set people up for success. Now, I've been the recipient over the years of some of the amazing things that Lisa does to set me up for success. She's done the same thing with CTE offices and for the district. She does things at Fremont High School like budgeting and accounting. This is what you'd see her do during the course of a day, setting people up for CTSO, club travel, things like this, all the budgetary things, but also she does things like ninth grade tours, CTE showcases, job fairs, getting people registered for the OTEC, skills testing, which is something that is a great part of CTE. Some of the things that she's done that's amazing, concurrent enrollment. During her time there at Fremont High School, they've gone from about 3,000 credits, concurrent enrollment credits, to 10,000 concurrent enrollment credits. Now, to be able to matriculate that many students and deal with all of the challenges of that, but here's the thing, you know, Lisa is able to take a vision of a leader and be able to put it into practice, put it into place, and she's a remover of obstacles. This is something that makes some secretaries set apart from others, is that they don't ask, you know, how, they just go and start to remove those obstacles. And so I think that influence has been not only someone at Fremont High School, but her influence has been felt throughout the district. Our concurrent enrollment numbers in the district have reached almost 25,000 credits now, and that's a remarkable thing, how much money that saves families and helps them. And she's always coming up with ideas of how to introduce another dual credit class into current classes. That creativity and ingenuity is difficult even for school leaders to think of those things. It takes people like Lisa to come in and say, hey, when you're hiring the next position, this might be something that you might want to consider in doing this. This is remarkable to see this kind of vision. She's also helped numerous students achieve associate degrees. Her personal ownership of school initiatives is what really is remarkable about her, how she internalizes what school is trying to get done, and then she carries that out. She leads people into success. She always puts kids first. She's not an individual that says, well, that's not really my job. She's always thinking of other people and how she can help them. And she's a visionary. She's adaptable, and her job really has no limits. Next slide, please. Few things that people that she works with have said about her. I love it when she's visiting with a parent or student and she says, if you were my kid and want to accomplish this, this is what I would do. Lisa's always open to new ideas, looking for opportunities to serve and help others, and she's amazing at building relationships. That's from Chad Marriott. Bill mentions that Lisa has a positive influence on the whole CTE department. It's wonderful to see students in her office every time I visit Fremont, and it's certainly a safe haven. Christy Dabb, whom she works with and she's been training, Lisa's always so willing to help anyone that comes into the office, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with us. She also never quits. She's working her tail off to get things done, is happy while she's doing it. She's a problem solver. Colton Simons, who is our new concurrent enrollment director at Weber State, mentioned this when I said that we were going to recognize Lisa. Lisa's phenomenal to work with. She's a champion for student success, and she works to provide meaningful opportunities for all students that she works with. She's ready and willing to serve in any capacity. Everyone needs a Lisa Burton in their school. And Alicia Mitchell, who is the principal at Fremont High School, said this of Lisa. Lisa is a fountain of wisdom when it comes to all things CTE, and I'm convinced that Fremont leads the pack in CE credits because Lisa has taken the time to have an extensive understanding of how the CE world works. She has been able to see the needs of our students and maximize a plan for each of them as they pursue graduation goals. We're lucky to have Lisa at Fremont. Next slide, please. So it's an honor, really, to recognize Lisa, and the leader, I guess, of assisting would be the legendary John Stockton. And this is what Carl Malone had to say about Stockton. If you go back and watch it, it was all about Stockton's greatness. He was watching everything, and he made us all better. And I think that same thing can be said of Lisa Burton. She makes us all better. She makes all those around her better. She does it selflessly, and she does it every day and without fanfare. So it's my honor to be able to recognize Lisa Burton for our Extra Mile Award for this month.
My oldest girls are nurses, and they both had to work tonight up at McKay, so I am proud of them for all their hard work. But I don't love being recognized, but I just enjoy the job I have and the amazing people that I get to work with. So.
And her principal for Fremont, Alicia Mitchell, is there. Please wave. Thank you. I thought maybe you might be both. No? We'll get this new system down, board. And Tex. Awesome, Dr. Belknap. Job well done. Board, our next item on the agenda will be a presentation of mental health specialist. Zach, please. Welcome.
Had to make sure they knew that they were coming up too. I'm not alone. Superintendent Butters, President Ritchie, and board members. 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to come and present the mental health program, the new mental health program, to all of you. At that time, we had just hired 5 new mental health therapists. That was thanks in large part to the school-based mental health qualified grant. That grant has helped propel us forward, but there's been a lot of new developments that I wanted to go over with you guys. There it is. Before I update you on kind of what transpired from that year, 3 years ago, until now, I also need to recognize the fact that Superintendent Butters really helped pave the way when she advocated for a new position to be developed at the district office for a district mental health therapist to provide risk assessments for the district-wide. And the following year, so that was 5 years ago, and then the very next year, she actually hired Ruth Taylor, who's standing behind me, to work in elementary schools with students that have been impacted with trauma. And that really helped lay the foundation and get us started to hire these mental health therapists. I don't know where to point this. Back there? To the front? Okay. So when I had met with all of you 3 years ago, this is what the program had looked like. So we had them in, or mental health therapists in the high schools for 2 days out of the week, and then, or 3 days out of the week, and then they were splitting the rest of their time between 2 junior highs. We discovered at the end of that year that the high school principals wanted more time with the therapists. They saw the value, they wanted more, and they were willing to put in some funding from their school to pay for more time. And so the next year is what this looked like. We were able to, so the school-based mental health grant doubled in funding, but so technically our numbers should have doubled, but they actually more than doubled because the principals wanted more than what they were receiving as well. So we went from a team of 6 to a team of 15, and we're able to serve all 45 schools within the span of a year. So we went from just secondary to all of secondary and all of elementary. The mental health therapists in the high schools were able to work full-time there, and then we brought on these new therapists to split their time, working 2 days at a junior high and then 3 days splitting their time between 3 elementary schools or more, and also providing services at the alternative junior high and high school and all the rest of the schools. And then the following year was the same. That's what the grant allowed us to do. I also started working at an elementary school to help share the load, so to speak, and understanding what it was like to have boots on the ground and have that firsthand experience. And then this year, taking us to this current year, we were able to hire 5 additional therapists. So over the last 2 years, the junior high administrators said that they wanted therapists full-time there as well, and they were willing to contribute. And the elementary schools were willing to contribute in order to get more services also. So not only are the therapists now at the junior highs for 4 out of the 5 days of the week, but there's several elementary schools that actually are receiving services for 2 days instead of 1. And now looking towards the future, what is it that we're hoping to accomplish in the future? Well, we've realized that while the mental health therapist does provide therapy at the school, there's a lot of other ways that they're having a positive impact as well. And that's why I brought these 2 awesome therapists to share some stories with you. We've realized that yes, while a high school may have thousands of students, and so we need a therapist to serve as many of them as possible, we're also realizing that at the elementary level, some of these elementaries are impacted at such a degree that they really need more services than what they're receiving. They need more than 2 or even 3 days a week. They could actually have a full-time mental health therapist. And just as all of you know, when it comes to reading, for example, the earlier you intervene, the earlier that you help these students succeed through reading, then we're setting them up for success in the future, right? It's the same thing with mental health. The sooner we can get in and help these students who are experiencing a lot of trauma, the better equipped they're going to be as they go to junior high and high school. So previously, the role when we first started this program was individual therapy, but we're doing so many more things as well. If that'll work, there we go. So helping with Hope Squads, doing presentations in health classes, helping students understand what mental health is and what a mental health therapist actually does, consulting with teachers, working with students who are in crisis. There's been therapists who have created a Mindfulness Monday where it's sent out to all of the students at the school what it means to practice mindfulness and how that can help us with depression and anxiety and that sort of a thing. And then connecting students and families to resources in the community. Really functioning as more of a school social worker instead of just that individual providing therapy. We're actually functioning as a school social worker, which is providing services to students, parents and family, school personnel, and the district, while also acting as a liaison between the school and the community. I brought these two here to provide some stories so that you can know or understand, I guess, better what that role looks like. I wanted to share a couple of stories just from this last week that I experienced firsthand. So just a couple of hours ago, I was at an elementary school working with a young father his wife is going to pass away from ALS, and he has 2 young students, and he's trying to figure out how to help them prepare for this loss that is inevitable. And so we talked about therapy, but I also was asking the husband, what resources does he have in place for himself so that he can care for himself at the same time while helping his students. And we had explored that, and I was, encouraging him to reach out to different community partners and giving him different resources and that sort of a thing. And I could see the look of relief on his face as he realized that, like the school has my kids' back, but the school has my back as well. And they want to make sure that I have the skills or that I'm equipped the way that I need to. And then last week, I met with a teacher who popped her head in. She wanted information about anxiety because her family has been telling her for years that she has anxiety. So she and I were able to sit down at a computer, go through a couple of questions briefly, and determined that she has medium to high anxiety actually. And so I told her about the employee assistance program that Dr. Peterson has talked about in the past, and now she's lined up with those services. And so that teacher who has anxiety is going to learn skills to better equip herself to then help her students, right? The whole analogy of putting your oxygen mask on yourself so that you can put it on the people around you. So a couple of stories for you. I will turn the time over to Kenyatta and Ruth. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Kenyatta Green. I am currently the therapist at Orion Junior High and Lowman View Elementary. I started a couple of years ago, and I was working at Orchard Springs, which was in its first year, Valley Elementary, Lowman View, Orion, and Far West Elementary. Zach told me to share if I can come up with a couple of stories. I have one that I would like to share. During my first year at one of my schools, I had a student who had really been struggling with some trauma that she experienced throughout her life. She was in the 6th grade. She had some difficulties with attendance. We were trying to just work through what was keeping her from coming to school. As we spent this time together, we found that she didn't have a lot of support at home. Her mother almost appeared to be jealous of her at times of some things that she would do, like when she would receive good grades. The kid had reported one day, the student reported one day that she was having some suicidal ideation, and it alarmed me, and I kind of let the principal know that I was working with at that school what was going on, and I was reaching out to the parent to let her know, to be aware of this, and that we might need to tie in some more services within the community. The mother made up a couple of excuses why she could or why she couldn't do it. There were some financial challenges to it and some transportation issues. The symptoms they increased. It was to the point where it made my Tuesdays pretty difficult to come to work sometimes, because it wasn't that it was difficult working with the student. It was difficult because I was hoping that the student would be at school and that I wasn't going to get news of something tragic happening, because she had a couple serious of attempts that her mom took very lightly. With the help of the principal, we came together with a plan and had to make some serious threats and had to follow through with a couple, including CPS. Well, I'll fast forward a year. Students in 7th grade, she starts off really good, going to school every day the first month and a half. It was good to see her. I wasn't providing any services at the time. We get around this time of the year, her, in the 7th grade, I just periodically check attendances of some old students that I work with to see how they're doing. I noticed she hadn't been to school in a while. We tried to contact the parent, no respond. There was a time when she was in elementary where she would just stay home and she would hide in the curio, the closet in the under the sink in the bathroom. She would stay at home all day and just hide under there. So I asked the mom if she would check to make sure if her student wasn't at home. Come to find out, the student had been just hanging out in the bathroom in our junior high. And pretty disturbing. Well, started with some services again, really going hard at it, just, what were the challenges? And she opened up a little bit. We worked on just, some mindfulness, some skills, teaching her how to advocate for herself, to share what her thoughts and needs are from her parent. And parent was getting a little frustrated sometimes. Now, ended the school year pretty good. And here we are, first term's ended. This student has a 4.0 in school. And I was happy for her, and I told her she should be proud of herself. But I asked her what was the motive, what was it that made her change her mind? And she just says, you know what? You've always said that I have full control over my happiness and what happens with me in my life. And I know the situation I'm in at home is only temporary. But if I want a fair chance, I have to be dedicated to school. And she has dedicated herself to school, and she's there every day. She even comes early. She gets a ride from her aunt. She gets breakfast, because we talk about how nutrition is important for learning. She's there every morning. She studies before school, and she still comes sees me periodically. And it's not as much therapy as it was before, but just reviewing some of the successes and things that she's experienced. And if there's some challenges, she's very easy to talk to about those things. And so that in itself for me, makes it worth doing this job, and makes those Tuesdays I'm encouraged and want to get there, And if I ever have a challenge with another student, this is something that comes up, so I think about these successes. And so that's one story I had to share. Thanks.
Oh dear. Hopefully I'm a little shorter than the people that have talked before me, but that's not the first time. That's okay. We're good.
That's the least I can do. That's the least I can do.
Thank you.
I wanted to know neither.
I am privileged and grateful to be able to be here and talk to you all this evening. I was the one that was hired on the trauma grant, and I am very passionate, and I love my job here at the district. And it's changed a little bit throughout the time that I've been here. I did start out with the trauma grant, which is when we started identifying that kids were coming to school with increased trauma. And I was at one school, so that availed me the opportunity to do as much teacher training as I could, and to get everybody in the building to understand what trauma looked like, so that they felt a little bit more equipped and could understand the behaviors that were coming in the door, because the behaviors that are coming in the door are not the behaviors that were coming in the door 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And now my assignment is 3 schools. And so I have tried to adapt, and the day that I was approached about addressing this was just a classic day and not really one of my favorites, but I think it will help you understand. So I was at one of my schools, started out the day wonderfully. We have clinical consultations with the other therapists so that we can support each other, because sometimes when you're out at a school, you're very isolated. You are the only one carrying that load. And so we try to be a big support for each other. So we start out there, and then I have two people coming up to me, two secretaries, saying, this mom is demanding to talk to you. It's a student that's been very high risk. She hasn't been at school. Dad has just been sentenced to 5 years. And mom has been in and out of incarceration. There's been some other sex abuse and some other things in the home. And we're trying everything we can to get this student there. So we get through that meeting, and I said, okay, I've got to go because I have scheduled meetings with kids that need to meet with me. So I go ahead and do that, and things are going good, and I meet with a couple of students, and then I get a little report in my ear. Well, we've got a kid that has just attacked one of our aides that have come in from the behavior team to help, and is just about bit this individual, and he's pretty escalated. At this time, I'm in with a student. I wrap that up. She's wondering why I'm wrapping it up, because she's not done with her turn. And these kids, one of the secretaries, she reminded me today that, you know what, you don't mess with their time with Miss Ruth. And if I don't pick them up or I'm not there, they come to the office and they say, where's Miss Ruth? Today's my day. Where did she go? Where is she? They are very serious about that time. So I hate to have it taken away. Well, the kid comes in, I work through him. He's definitely very angry, very upset. We get him de-escalated. We keep going on because I've got other kids that I've got to work with and see. And then I work with this gal, and she's gonna be the story that I end with. It's a positive note, so I'm gonna hang on to that, but I check in with her, and I'm excited about that. And as I'm running around, I don't know why I'm not skinnier, but as I run around, I see this kid we have these what we call little calm areas for kids that get dysregulated. That was part of our trauma informed, and I see a kid sitting out there, and I've seen him out there a little bit too much. I said, what's going on? And he's having some trouble at home. And I said, would you like to come in and talk to me? Yeah. And I say to myself, why are you talking to more kids? You're full. You can't take on any more kids. He goes, I'm going to go home and talk to mom about it. I said, that's great. I keep going. I stop. I see another kid that's really struggling that I've worked before with, and he says, I need to get back in. I said, okay. I keep running around because I got things I got to do. And I keep seeing a couple of kids, and then after school, I've got probably about 4 faculty members that are just upset about this kid that has attacked. And I have to be careful in using that word, but that's how they felt. And they're worried about their safety, and what are we going to do tomorrow? We've got to come up with a safety plan right now. How are we going to stay safe? Because that kid has threatened me, says this teacher, and I don't feel safe coming back in tomorrow. So we sit down and talk about this, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I've got a couple of other, but we keep going through this, we work through this, we work through the administrator, we have a plan for the next day. That is beautiful. In the middle of this, I get an email from one of my other schools saying one of the students that I've worked with, and I'm grateful, and this is the other thing that's really important, is that you have connections with teacher, and a teacher emails me and says, a student I was worked with went into a full-blown panic attack and couldn't move their hands. And this is a first, and I panicked, but guess what? I can't get in and go over there because I got other things. And actually, I'm moving. I'm not just sitting there playing solitaire. But anyhow, I thank the teacher, and I'm going to follow up with that. Meanwhile, I know I've got to get with a parent that has called me at one of my other schools because there's been some self-harm. This individual's been cutting, and the parent is scared to death, and I understand that. But I need to wait till they're after school, get out of work, because not all parents can just talk to me whenever I feel like it's a good time for me. So I talked to them for a little bit, and I said, you know what, I think I am going to have to wrap this up because the custodian is going to kick me out of here. And it's not the first. I have set the alarm off just once, though. And I said, I got to get out of here because I'm going to be in trouble. But we came up with the plan, and it was a good idea. And then I have to pack up. I'm the bag lady because I got to pack up all, and you know, little kids, they don't like to just sit and you talk back and forth. No. Just like today, we have to get the sand tray out. I said our goal is to keep the sand in the tray. Huh? Okay, do you see, we want the sand in the tray. And then I got my Play-Doh and a couple activities, and off I go. And it was an okay day because I'll tell you why. This girl I've been working with for a couple of years, she showed up to school with a backpack full of, she had a pipe back there, and that's not typically what we see, and it was a very young child, and we were worried about this. And we tried to problem solve this, and we know there's problems at home, but we called DCFS, we're working it through, not enough evidence, not a whatever. Next year goes by, DCFS is involved, not enough, but there's problems at home. This girl's out all night till about 5 in the morning, walking around in a very high-risk area, walking around. She's tired. We talk about how to get some sleep. I go over safety. We're talking safety. Another year goes by, we're having trouble, and then Dad has to go to jail. And then she comes in, and this is what's always hard. This is the third student that's happened to me like this, but she comes in and she goes, "My mom was quite feisty, and she got out of control." And it was like a 24-hour rage. And the police had to come take her away, the mom. So now we have a child without a parent. There was somebody else in the home. So we sat and talked about it, and we know what this means. This means she's probably not going to stay where she's at. And she's scared. And she says, "I'm scared. I don't want to go to foster care." And I said, I know this is scary. And I look around my office and I find this little bracelet, and it's just something you can get at a dollar store, I don't know, and it had a little heart. And I said, "I want you to wear this, and I want you to remember that we care about you at this school and how much I care about you, and I'm going to think about you no matter what." Because this was for before fall break, and I don't know if I'll ever see her again. And I said, "Know that we cared about you here." And comes after the break, and she comes and she's got her bracelet on. And I said, "I'm so happy to see you." She goes, "I'm in foster care." I said, "Okay. Are you doing okay?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "I see that you're wearing that bracelet." And she said, "Miss Ruth, I'm sleeping with it." And what we can do with these trauma kids is connect with them and know that somebody cares about them, and that will change their life, like Kenyatta explains. These connections and these kids feeling like they have someone that cares and some kind of power. And so I know I'm over my allotted time. I was given 60 seconds. I knew I wouldn't do it. But I thank you all for the support you have in this program. Our mental health has become such a problem. I did just a quick training at one of what we call low-impact schools as we look. So I'm thinking, oh, we don't have too many problems. I did a little trauma training, and teacher after teacher came to me and they said, I need help. This kid is triggering me and some history in me. I need some help because I don't know that I'm going to stay in control when this kid does what he does to me. And so I'm scheduled to do another training to help teachers learn how to regulate and help kids regulate, because teachers are afraid. They're afraid of what's going to come out of them or what's going to come out of their students. And it's all coming from trauma. Or maybe COVID related, the research will show and down the road. But it's hard for our teachers. It's hard for everybody in the building. So again, thank you for your time.
I just want to briefly thank you guys for the mental health team. We all love our jobs. I mean, to be able to make the difference that we do on a daily basis is so rewarding. And I had said this 3 years ago, but we can't thank all of you enough for the support and the superintendency. Really, this program is helping lead the way for the rest of the state. And so we just can't thank you enough. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Superintendent, you wanted a minute.
Yeah, I just wanted to great board, publicly acknowledge the leadership of Zach Leifson. We are so fortunate that we were able to snag him a few years ago, and foundationally what he's built, and you can see the quality of therapists that we have. I know Kenyatta and Ruth, Miss Ruth and I go way back to our days at Bonneville High School, and know we have a group of therapists that truly care for kids and understand the need for connection. And so I just want to make sure Zach knows how much we appreciate his leadership. And of course, Carla Porter as well, who couldn't be here tonight, I don't think. Just want to give her a shout out. So thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Zach, if I could I get you and Miss Ruth and Kenyatta to come through and shake the board's hand, please? We want to say thank you for very much. We know mental health is extremely important nowadays. But to have just one story that we know has a myriad of help, we just want to say thank you. Board? kind of quiet, but I think Miss Hyder has an idea. We probably should have done that first, huh? It seemed a little. Thank you, Zach and your team. Board, the next item would be the discussion item on the approval of a boundary study, an organizational boundary study team. Mary Jo Williams, please. Oh, Brock. I wrote your name down, Brock. I'm sorry, Miss Brock.
I'm not the Mary Jo you're looking for, but
You'll work.
I'll take the place. Board President Ritchie, board members, with the passing of the latest, most recent Weber School District bond, it is necessary to study boundaries for a new high school in Taylor, a new junior high in West Haven, and a new elementary school in West Haven. Due to potential number of students involved and the modifications of the high school, junior high school, and elementary boundaries, a level 3 boundary adjustment is necessary. Level 3 adjustments are required when the process involves 2 or more schools, new schools, or the rebalancing of student enrollments. Adjustments may affect the elementary, elementary, junior high, and senior high levels simultaneously. As per Board Policy 4541, boundary study teams must be formed at the district and school levels to make proposals regarding these adjustments. We would ask that the board declare boundary studies open for the Weber, Fremont, and Roy school cones, including schools from both secondary and elementary levels. Thank you for your consideration on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. We appreciate that presentation. Board, I would entertain a motion. You've heard the presentation on accepting this motion. So moved by Bruce, second by Jan. Any discussion, board? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Time to go to work. We've come to the end of our agenda. However, board, we've have need for a closed meeting in accordance with Utah Provision Code 52.4, 204, and 205. This is a strategy session to discuss the character, professional competency, or physical or mental health of an individual. Roll call vote. Mr. Peterson, please.
Very good. Just when I state first name, say aye or nay. Jan.
Aye.
Bruce.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Doug. Dean.
Aye.
And John.
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you.
We're set to go.
Thank you. We will convene. Thank you to the audience. Drive safely. We will see you next month. And thanks again to the team that put this together.